Anyway, you're about to meet Ed Dames. Ed Dames is a remote viewer. He was in the U.S. government's remote viewing program that ran for about 20 years. What he is about to tell you is going to scare the hell out of you. But that's Ed Dames for you. They didn't call him Dr. Doom back then for nothing. He's really something. Now, I'm just going to issue the standard warning. If hearing this kind of predictive material, whether it be by remote viewing or prophecy or any other way that it is delivered on my program, bothers you or scares you, then turn your radio off. If there are young children in the room, get them out of the room. Some of what you're going to hear is not going to be appropriate for their ears and maybe not even for yours. So I really do mean it when I say that. It's a big caution. I'm giving you time to get the kids out of the room. I'm giving you time to decide if you want to hear what Ed's going to say. And so with that caution applied, I guess I've been interviewing Ed Dames now for, Ed, how long?
2 years.
2 years we've been talking and doing interviews on the air, huh?
Yes.
Okay, I should, let me give one more little preface here for the New York audience that just joined us. Last Thursday and Friday, I was not here. I was sick, really sick. I had a stomach intestinal flu of some kind. I had a temperature, and so I was gone. Now, on Thursday, I got a fax from Ed Dames, Major Ed Dames, man I just almost brought on there and then took off because I want to tell you this. On Thursday, in the middle of my misery, I got a fax from Ed that essentially said, Art, look, I've got a very, very important warning and announcement for your listeners, and I can either type it up and you can read it to them, or I can briefly come on the air and tell them about it. And since you have no guest, what about it? Well, I didn't respond to him Thursday because I was sick. And earlier today, he sent me a second fax, and not having a guest lined up, I said, well, yeah, sure, let's do it. But I wanted you to know, you can believe me, because I'm telling you, the first word I had of this came last Thursday from Ed. He wanted to get this on the air last Thursday. But because I was sick, it's now going to get on the air tonight. Is that all accurate, Ed?
It is, Art.
Okay. So, what the hell? The market took a deep dive. It's in trouble. Obviously, we're in economic trouble. It may or may not get better tomorrow. Our president is in Russia. Korea's sending missiles over Japan. What the hell, Ed?
Well, to us at SciTech, this is just data. It's just information. You know that it's been a year and a half to 2 years ago that we on your radio program, we flat out said in late spring or summer of 1998 there would be a global economic collapse. It's here.
I remember.
Yeah.
And you're saying it's here now?
It's here. It's on us. And, of course, the markets reflect that first. But it's more than just the markets. It's much more. There's geopolitical and ecological forces behind this. So when we say global economic collapse, we don't just mean a market meltdown. There's much more to say about that. Also, you used the term prediction and forecast. Predictions and forecasts really are a function of analysis. One takes information and then projects forward or extrapolates data and then forecasts an outcome, projected outcome.
Based on current events.
Current events or an ensemble of data over time. That's not what we do.
I know.
Technical remote viewing is direct knowledge. So when our outlook for the future is based upon actually downloading data connected with an event that already exists in time over the horizon. That's what we were looking at 2 years ago when we saw this collapse in late spring, summer of 98. the unthinkable occurring. We've gotten many letters from people who have thanked us because we forewarned them. They got out of the markets. But I called you, I faxed you last week because those self-same people and others are about to make or may have already made a mistake. And the money that they saved by pulling out, withdrawing from the stock market, they may be throwing away somewhere else. And that was the gist of this fax and this alert that I wanted to get out to your listeners.
So there's no easy way to lay this out. What you believe is going to occur, based on what you've seen, is that the United States government, in effect, is going to default. Is that right?
That's correct. It's the second unthinkable in terms of the of financial information. The first one being the economic collapse that people thought was a very laughable thing because of the robust U.S. economy, blah, blah, blah. But nevertheless, it's right there in front of us when we look at it in terms of technical remote viewing. There it is, and we take what we get. The second unthinkable is what I wanted, is the warning that I wanted to issue to your listeners. And that is that many, many people are running to the perceived haven, the shelter of these long-term U.S. government securities.
Bonds.
Yes, bonds.
The bond yield keeps falling as more and more people run to bonds. It's called flight to quality.
Correct.
And they're pulling money out of the market and saying, no, I'm going to park it in bonds.
Correct. Both Americans and foreigners in U.S. long-term bonds.
A lot of foreigners own U.S. bonds.
They own them a lot. In fact, many of them will probably Japanese will probably end up selling much of them to get the capital that they need to
cover their own butts. Yeah.
But my warning is this: the United States government is going to default on both the interest payments and possibly the bond, paying back the bonds itself. So that is no longer a shelter or haven. That is how bad this collapse is going to be.
Well, if it goes that far, Ed, then we'll have a new government.
We will definitely have a new government. I've told you before that Clinton will not complete this term. We still stand by that. And it's becoming self-evident, I think, to a lot of people as the months go on. But we mentioned that last year. And it's actually something that, as remote viewers, in SciTech, we knew 4 years ago. But we didn't publicly state this.
Why not?
It's just bad business, Art. There's other things that we keep a lid on. For instance, we know of one very high U.S. official who will die a natural death in office. And that data is very solid, but we're not going to talk about that. It's just not something that you do.
I'm with you.
And we're not going to do that. And I want the listeners who have, at least the ones who have followed SciTech's data, to remember that the experts they have been wrong, and they're still wrong, and or they're being disingenuous when they say that the current reaction in the U.S. market is just an overreaction to the Russian situation. Don't swallow that. That the U.S. economy appears to be strong.
I'm not swallowing that it's an overreaction to Russia, nor that it's an overreaction to Asia.
The U.S. economy appears to be strong, but in fact, it's eroding hourly, and it's going to topple.
Well,
this is going to get up close and personal for us in America. It's already up close and personal to many other nations, but we've been pretty blessed for many years, and now it's the waters are going to get rough.
All right.